Now let's look into the first technique that we use in mixed methods sampling. That is sequential sampling. So sequential sampling comes under a mixed methods sampling. So what we do here is, in sequential sampling is a sampling technique that involves selecting a subset of the population for analysis and then using the results of that analysis to determine whether to continue sampling or to stop. So this technique is often used in quality control and statistical process control, where a company wants to ensure that a product meets certain quality. Okay, let's put it into an example. So the next one what we have is mixed methods sampling. So first one out of this is sequential sampling. So let's take one example. Suppose a company produces a large number of light bulbs and wants to ensure that each bulb meets a certain level of brightness. So the company describes, now the problem statement for here for that company is, so they want to make sure they want to make sure they want to ensure that each bulb meets a certain level of brightness. Now, so the company decided to use sequential sampling to test the bulbs. They randomly select a small subset of bulbs from the production line. That's the step one. Obviously randomly, your probabilistic or probability method, randomly select a subset of bulbs from the production line and test their brightness. So if the brightness level meets the requirement standard, now the condition, if the brightness level reaches the required levels, if it reaches the required levels of standards, they stop testing. They stop testing and assume that the rest of the bulbs are also of a good quality. However, if the brightness level does not meet the required standard, if the brightness level does not meet the required standards, if it does not meet the required standard, they continue to test they continue to testing until they have either reached the required sample size or have found enough defective bulbs to reject the entire production run. So this sampling technique is useful when the cost of sampling is high or when it is time consuming to test all of the items in the population. By using sequential sampling, the company can minimize the cost and time required to test while still ensuring that the quality standards are met. However, it's important to choose the sample size carefully and to have a clear stopping rule to ensure that the results are statistically valid. So, in general, sequential sampling can be a useful technique when used appropriately and when the researcher is aware of its limitations and potential biases. The researcher should carefully consider the cost of sampling and the potential risks of incorrect decisions when designing a sequential sampling plan.